Do you want to live or not? Do you want to live or not? That is such an interesting question, but the answer to that is far deeper than what meets the eye. Many times when we find ourselves encountering situations, medical conditions that terminal or are life-threatening or chronic in nature, we tend to ask ourselves lots of questions. And one of the valid questions that we ask ourselves is, will I live long enough? And if I live, will my quality of life be good? And if it is good, will I live long enough to be able to do all the things that I am currently able to do? Writing, swimming, studying, working, cooking, washing, bathing myself, doing everything that life was designed to do, carrying children, getting married, and all of those things. Those are valid questions. And unfortunately, those questions also trigger a certain level of anxiety, a certain level of depression comes in as you are wondering, how will your disease affect your quality of life? So, do you want to live or not? My name is Clinician Faith Do. Welcome to the Feminine Universe Space, a safe space where we discuss our scars and how we paint them and make them to be beautiful. So, today I just want to talk about how the power of life and death is within our hands. Our hands, we have been given the power of life and death, and it is up to us to choose what works best for us. I would urge you to choose life. Oftentimes, it's easier to choose the path less traveled, and that is the path of suicide, especially when it concerns issues of a newly diagnosis of, let's say, HIV and AIDS or cancer. I myself, being an HIV activist, will speak from the point of view of a terminal illness or a chronic illness that is of HIV in nature. So at oftentimes, we think that just because we have been diagnosed with the disease, it might be the end of the world. I just want to urge you and let you know that actually it is just the beginning. The point of diagnosis is not the point where your life ends. That is the point where life in a different format starts. Yes, a lot of skeptical people will think of it as, why are you glamorizing the disease and why are you minimizing the impact that it has? No, I am not minimizing the impact that the disease has. In fact, the root cause starts from the point where you actually accept that you are HIV positive. And the moment that you accept it is the moment that you start to live. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because in today's nature or today's modern allopathic medicine, we have got options. And currently, there is medication that is available that one can take, like your ARVs, your TLDs. So it's just one tablet per day. And then if you take that one tablet per day, it will prolong your lifespan. And as it prolongs your lifespan, it lowers the chances of you getting other infections, like opportunistic infections that could otherwise kill you. So by the action of accepting the disease, that you have the disease, then you start the process of taking that one tablet per day up until maybe after 6 months you reach a point whereby your viral load is lower than detectable. Then that is a good decision. Once you take that decision, you prolong your lifespan 30 plus years from the point of diagnosis, depending on how early you catch the disease. And after 6 months, once you reach the point of lower than detectable, it means that you cannot transmit the virus to other people. And if you cannot transmit the virus to other people during sexual activity, it still doesn't mean that we should engage in unprotected sex. No, because there are still other diseases that are prevalent. So one must continue to still use protective measures like condom use and all other things. But the point that I am trying to make is a person with HIV can still lead a normal life provided they take their medicine the way in which the doctor has prescribed. And after 6 months, if you get to that point that I'm talking about, which is lower than detectable, it also means that if you are a woman of childbearing age and you still desire to give birth and to still have or expand your family or start your family, you can still do that under the guidance of your medical practitioner or your nurse practitioner. You can still do that. Carry your child to term, the child that will come out HIV negative if you remain on treatment, whatever regimen that you have been given. Because at that stage you will have reached a point where we say viral suppression, which is a viral load lower than 20 cells of or copies of the HIV virus within your body. And at that point in time, your CD4 count will be normal within 500 to 1.5, depending on where you started as your baseline. When CD4 count is normal, it simply means that you are at the point whereby you have adequate soldiers within your bodies to fight off the infection. So that's why I am saying, do you want to live or not? And at such a point or at such a state whereby a person's viral load is so suppressed to such a nature, they can continue to dream far beyond what anyone has ever done. You can continue to go to work, you can continue to have wonderful, amazing dreams. Use your creative mind to create whatever content you want. You can use your creative mind to write, to inspire, to do beyond the expected. And your life doesn't have to drastically change. You keep your life in balance. You prioritize healthy life options. You eat healthy, your greenies, drink plenty of water, go to the gym, and socialize with friends, have family members that are supportive of you. If unfortunately some people do not have a good social support structure, so when we say, do you want to live or not, we also include that living means existing in such a way that you are fulfilled personally, from the point of your finances, to the point of your family dynamics, to the point of your friendships, to the point of your relationships, your career prospects, your workspace, your spiritual life, your emotional well-being. So if you say yes to the call of living, then if you are talking from a point of someone who has got the disease of HIV, if you say yes to the call of living, then it means you are saying yes to taking your medicine the way in which it is prescribed, so that you can prolong your lifespan. And as you prolong your lifespan, plus minus 30 years on treatment, if you are 29 now, by the time that you actually get to 60, that's like 30 years later, you are already an old person and you would have lived a fulfilled life. And that means saying yes to taking that treatment. Sometimes taking that one tablet, I often have patients come in and say to us that when they start taking treatment, it serves as a reminder that they have a disease and that they have done something wrong. Can I address that quickly and say, you haven't done anything wrong. You taking the medicine is actually a commitment or a covenant or an agreement that you are making with yourself every day to say, I want to live a long life. I want to live a fulfilled life. I want to be as independent as possible for a longer time than meets the eye. Than otherwise, if I was not taking the medicine, I would die within 5 to 3 years after the point of diagnosis. Do you want to live or not? If you want to leave, then you will do everything within your power to make sure that you leave. There's also an issue of stigma. The greatest stigma that exists currently is not from the population group outside of yourself or from your friends or your family, but rather the stigma that comes from within. Usually people judge themselves too much and they will be like, I did something wrong, therefore I got the disease. Can we just demystify that and destigmatize that and say, you didn't do anything wrong. You didn't do anything that other people your age or your peers are not doing. Yes, maybe you might have engaged in risky sexual behaviors, but now you have started to take accountability for it. I mean that you didn't do anything wrong that is worth such a punishment. So do not look at the disease as a punishment of mischief. Just look at it as it's an accident. And unfortunately, accidents happen. And when accidents happen, there's nothing that we can do except to find ways of thriving above the accident or thriving above the point of injury, and that means recovery. Recovery can look something like taking your power back. By taking your power back, I refer to if you had a plan prior to the diagnosis that this is how you want your life to go. You wanted to go to school, you wanted to complete your studies, you wanted to work in a certain company, you wanted to start a certain business, you wanted to get married or have a certain relationship, you wanted to have a family. I would urge you not to sort of like, put those plans that you had for your life on hold. I would rather say the point of diagnosis is the starting point of aligning your life decisions and your life goal with the purpose that you had initially planned for yourself. That simply means not abandoning yourself. Dress well, look good, clear your skin, get dressed and go out, meet new people, make friends. If you're more of an indoors person, I would really suggest that you gather the strength to go out there into the field and meet other people so that you have a social structure for support. Because if you tend to be alone too often, then you are more prone to run into a depressive episode, and it's just a rabbit hole from down there, so you will spiral. But if you have people that you regularly go out with, even if you're not sharing with them what your current diagnosis is or what challenges you're currently facing, but at least you will be out and then you will be reaching some nice fresh air and you can get to enjoy life and see life from their perspective. If it is school that you want to pursue, once you are stable and strong enough because you have taken the decision to start your medication, then you go and enroll for that wonderful course that you wanted. I'm not saying to be negligible of saying that sometimes the disease can make you so weak that you can't do certain things, but I'm trying to erase the mentality within our minds to say that once we have the disease, there's no point in us pursuing a career path. There's no point in us studying. When you start to take your medicine and your soldiers and your body strengthen up, you will live long, and you might end up regretting 10 years down the line, why didn't I go to school and study that program that I actually wanted? Why didn't I start that business that I wanted? Because you would have lived, you see. So that's why I'm saying from the point of diagnosis, that is actually the point where now you need to align and sharpen the rod to say, I want my life for the next 30 years that I'm alive to run into a certain trajectory. Yes, I might be talking like I'm using a lot of faith-based experience by saying that you will have 30 more years to live. Others might be skeptical and say, how do you know? I do not know, but guess what? Hope keeps us hopeful. Faith keeps us hopeful, and hope is fulfilling. And once you have that hope within yourself, It helps you because it keeps you in positive light. Another thing that I want to talk about is how the diagnosis or the virus puts you at financial jeopardy. It can put you in such a space whereby your finances can be something else. So if it is like that, I would urge the young girls who are living with the viruses to start creating a financial backup plan for yourself, because in this world, as much as life is happening, there's no one who's coming to save you. You are the best shot that you have at life, and you need to save yourself. Others are lucky to have good support system within their circle, but others are not as lucky. Others are lucky to have the support system, but the support system doesn't have the financial means. So what I'm saying is, as a feminine universe as you are, scarred as you are, living with the virus, start to create your financial backup plan. I don't mean it in a mean way, but I mean it in a good way, that should a day come whereby you need to be hospitalized, you have adequate funds to be able to fund that, or you do not end up putting yourself in compromising situations just to make ends meet. HIV disease, long-term wise, does come with financial vulnerabilities. There might be a point in time where you need to take time off from work due to the disease. How are you going to survive? I'm not saying this in such a way to induce stress and fear from our people. Not at all. I am saying this out of love to say, as person living with the disease, you must plan ahead and not be neglectful of what you might need. The spiritual bank is also quite important. Whatever spiritual background you come from, I would encourage you to reach out to that spiritual networks. Others are from the Sangoma societies, others are from the prophetic society, the Christian society, or the other religions inclusive. So whatever it is that fulfills your soul, I would encourage you to reach out to them. I personally will recommend Christ. Not that I'm biased, it's because I am a Christian, and in most of my videos I do explain my Christian faith. So in the presence of Christian faith and the disease, I would say that there are some Christians who are too much of extremists, that they believe and have so much faith to an extent that they believe that the virus can leave your body. Once you have the virus, as a medical person myself, I will tell you that the virus will be in your system, but the good thing is that with treatment, it remains suppressed in such a way that the test kits sometimes pick it as non-detectable, which simply means we have achieved a good viral suppression that you can't pass it to the others. But if you stop taking the treatment, the virus will gain strength and overpower you again, and you will be sick. With this being said, I'm trying to say, if there's a pastor out there telling you your HIV is cured, I don't mean to dispute it or sound like I lack faith. But what I'm trying to say is, as pastors and heads of these church bodies, we must encourage people to take their medication. Even if they are fasting for that day and they decided that they want to engage in prayer and fasting, do so, but take your medication. You understand what I mean? That is choosing life, because even the Bible itself will tell you, power of life and death is within your hands. It is up to you to decide what you do. I do not want to dwell much into the other faith-based communities. That will be a video for another day. I hope I have given you all for today to comfort you and to encourage you. Do you want to live or not? I pray you do want to live. Please take your medicine, queens. Your scars are beautiful.